Hey guys, I thought today it would be fun to talk about makeup, and that's just lame what I just said. Okay, I just thought it would be fun to talk about specifically what you need to have as far as makeup. We all watch different channels, and even in mine I share different makeup all the time, and you probably are like, how many foundations do I really need? How many blushes? How many lip colors? How many palettes? All of that. We're going to talk about that today. All right, so I have my makeup in front of me, and I'm going to tell you, I am a creature of habit. So there's a lot of things that I share on my channel, but there's things that I gravitate to, and there's just things that I use a lot right now. So that's what you're going to see. And this is not going to be like, you need to go and get this, you need, no, that's not it. I'm actually telling you not to get certain things, okay? But this is not brand specific. This is just more of what you should have, because you see it, so many of us have a ton of makeup. I don't have as much as a lot of other YouTubers. I really don't. I try to be careful, because otherwise I just end up getting more and more and more, and then I don't use it, you know? So let's get right into this. Foundation. How many do you really need? Good question, and I'm going to answer that for you. I think that you should have 1 to 2 at the most. That's really all that you need. So if you feel like your skin changes from season to season, so maybe your skin's a little oilier or drier in different seasons, or you feel like your skin tone even changes, then it's good to have 2. I'm gonna be honest with you, my skin doesn't change much in the summertime because I put a lot of sunscreen on, so I really don't have, I don't tan. So I don't have, my skin tone doesn't change. And now that I'm here in Florida, I would say that my skin gets probably oilier during the summer months because of the humidity, but the 2 foundations that I'm using seem to work good for either, you know, summer or winter here. That's what I'm feeling like. Even though I haven't been here winter, I'm feeling like it's just all around for me. But I still have 2 that I just like to use back and forth. I use pretty much every day. I use my Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet. I love this one. Again, you don't have to get this one. I'm just saying, get 2 foundations. So use one for if you have to change for the season, or if your skin tone changes. I use this one, and I use the Shiseido. They both have sunscreens in it, but this one has a 50+ in it. I still use sunscreen, but I just feel like if I'm going to be at the beach, I'd rather wear this because I feel like I'm getting extra protection. I still wear a hat, but I just want as much protection as possible. So if I'm going to be out in the sun a lot, then I use this one. I would say 2 is all you really need for foundations. Concealers. It's good to have 2 concealers. One doesn't always cut it for working under your eyes and working for blemishes. I haven't found one. If you can find one and you have one that works for your under eye circles and your blemishes, then one is all that you need. But if it doesn't, if the one that works under your eyes doesn't work for covering blemishes up, then I recommend 2. 2 that I use is the Lancome Effaceurs. I use this under my eyes. It's the only one they find that doesn't crease. And then I like the Lock-It. This is a little bit thicker, heavier coverage. So if I get a little flaw, like I've got this little guy right here, it's not going to cover totally because it's a little bit swollen too, but at least it knocked out the redness in it and all of that. This is really good. Another thing that I think, now this is something I think everybody should have in their makeup bag, is this. This is something that I discovered recently. I don't know of any other brands that have this, so I guess this one is a brand thing that I'm going to say. But I think it's nice to have a color corrector. This one's from Color Science. This is powder based though. So if you don't like powder based, then I guess this isn't going to be for you. But that's what it is. So you have all these different colors in here. Some of them knock out the brown, some knock out the purple, some knock out the red. And so this is really, really nice to have in your, you know, in your makeup bag. I think that's really good. Another thing, and I kind of missed on this with the foundation, but I'm going to talk about this really quickly. So what I've been doing lately, honestly, is I have been using that color corrector on my nose instead of using a foundation. I don't like to use foundations on my nose. What I use, I can't use a regular foundation on my nose. And I will use this a lot of times just to get the redness out, but sometimes I need a little bit more coverage. So what I use is the dual finish, so you don't have to use this, but if you feel like you can't keep a foundation on your nose, you want to look for a foundation like this that's a powder that, you know, it's a powder that you can wet and apply to your nose. That just makes sense there. So I apply this with a beauty blender or makeup sponge is what I do. So if you have issues with your oily nose, you have an oily nose like I do, then I would definitely recommend, don't have to get this, but get one and put it in your makeup bag. How many blushes do you need? Honestly, I think 2 blushes is all you really need. Now I have other blushes that are in palettes, but these are the only 3 separate blushes I have. So I have 3. I have 2 from Chanel and 1 from Charlotte Tilbury that I just got. This is one that I didn't have, and I am good with blushes until I go through these. So that's this one. It's a little bit more peachy-ish. This one is a little peachy, earthy, tony. And then this one is a little bit more pinky. So I would say get 2 different colors. 2 different colors. You don't want to have the same colors in your collection. Maybe something a little more pinky, something a little more peachy kind of a color. And honestly, that's all you need. If you are fine with 1 blush, then that's good too, but really you don't need more than 2 blushes in your collection. You really don't need them. I think that unless you really love to collect makeup, then have as much as you want. But I'm just talking to the average person that just wants to wear makeup, but they don't really collect it. You don't need to have all that. Let's talk about highlighters. I don't do a lot of highlighting on my face, but when I do, I like to give a little bit of a glow. So I have 2. It depends. I mean, I really think you could have 1 and that's all you really need. Okay, 2 at the most. These are 2 separate ones. I don't even know if I make this one anymore. This is the one from Too Faced. I still really like this one. It's the diamond highlighter, so it's really, really subtle. I don't like anything that's really heavy or glittery or anything, and this is nice. It's very, very subtle. Same with this one. This is really subtle. This is called the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I use this as a highlighter. I know it looks like a foundation, but there's a little bit of shimmer in it, but it's not glittery. I'm actually wearing it today, and I only apply it up here. That's it. I don't put it on my nose. I don't put it anywhere on my face. I think us mature ladies have to be careful with highlighter because I think it can accentuate wrinkles and different things. But like I said, 1 to 2 is all you need. And I have a liquid and I have a powder. So if you're going to get 2 different ones, that's what I would suggest. I would suggest getting a liquid and then a powder. Let's talk about bronzer. Honestly, 1 bronzer is all you need too. I think a bronzer is really nice to have. I think it brightens up our face in the summer and the winter months. If you're like me and you put sunscreen on, the sun isn't going to give you any color in the summertime either. So I think this is just a nice thing to have. So it doesn't have to be this one, but I definitely would recommend finding a nice bronzer that will help give your skin a little bit more color. Eye palettes, you don't have to go crazy with them. I have a lot of them, but you don't have to have that many in your collection. You really, really don't. I would say 1 to 2 palettes is really all you need, because think about how you do your eyeshadow. Do you like to do a different color every day, or you like to? Most of us are creatures of habit. I know I am, and I pretty much do the same look. Sometimes I'll add a little bit more color and stuff, and I have a lot of different palettes because of my channel, but honestly, if I did not have my channel, I wouldn't have all these palettes. I wouldn't. I probably would have 1 or 2 palettes, and that's all I would have, and that is the honest God truth. So don't feel like you have to jump on it even when I'm sharing a new palette. If you're not into that or you're not looking for a new one, then don't get that palette. So like I said, I would say 1 to 2 palettes. I like these palettes. These have been my go-tos. And now I have this one. I like my Tom Ford one, which is still overpriced. I don't think I'd ever buy one again, even though I really do like it. those are, but I would not get a palette like this and that would be it, or would I? You know what, let's be real, I probably would have. I probably would, because I think that's what I used to do before I had my channel. I think I used to get like a lot of Lancome, and I think that's what it was. I think Lancome had quads. But that's what I would do, is I would get a quad like this and I would use it all up and then I would get a new one. That's what I would do. So yeah, I probably would have just done that. So I guess it just depends how much you want to play with makeup, but you don't have to get every palette that comes out. You don't need it. You don't need it, girl. You don't. Primers. Not everybody needs a primer. I use a primer because I just feel like, for me, with the foundation I use, I just feel like it wears better on me. So what primers will do, just really quickly, it depends on the primers. There's some primers that will help keep your makeup on longer. Some of them are a little bit more moisturizing. Some of them will help hide, or not hide, but make your pores not look as noticeable. So there's different primers for whatever you want. And not all primers work with every foundation. You might use a primer and it may not work with some certain foundations. I don't know. So you don't have to use a primer. I use one, and you know, I use this one. It's from Chanel. I really like this one, and it's the only one that I use. That's it. But I only have those two foundations and it works with that. So don't get caught up in that either. Don't get caught up in you have to have 50 different primers, because I don't think you do. Because I don't think you need to have 50 different foundations either. I really don't. An eye primer, I think everybody should have an eyeshadow primer. I was using my Urban Decay. I just started using this one, Bare Minerals. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but I will say that I think everybody should be using an eyeshadow primer, because it will just, now you can use a foundation to do that, but for me, I noticed that it started creasing the foundation. And I've even tried concealer and I have the same issue. So for me, I like to use something that's specifically for priming my eyes. So what it will do is it will help even out your skin tone. If you're like me, I have veiny red eyelids, so that's why I use it. I also use it because it helps my shadow stay on longer. It helps prevent it from creasing. And I also use less eyeshadow when I'm using a primer. It just helps to grab on to the shadow better when you're applying it, as opposed to not using it at all and it's kind of moving all over. It just helps grab that eyeshadow. So I really, really definitely think everybody should have at least one. That's all you need, is one. You don't need any more than one eyeshadow primer. I think that mature women, now this is just a personal thing, so don't get offended if you don't feel that way, and it's okay if you don't. But I think that us mature ladies look nice with a little bit of a gloss on our lips. And I really love, you know, I love my Marc Jacobs. So do you need to, how many do you need if you have these? I would say 2. One for in your bag, your makeup bag, and one for your purse, just so you don't have to keep on going back and forth. So I think it's good to have 2. Lipsticks, I think it's good to have 3 or 4 different lipsticks. That way, depending on the eye look that you're doing, you can change it out. Plus, you could also, you know, have one in your bag and one in your purse. Some of my lip colors are very similar. So even if when I'm getting dressed and I put a lipstick on, I always have one that's at least similar to it when I'm touching it up, so it's okay, you know what I'm saying? So I would say at least 4 lipsticks. Lip pencils, I think you should have at least 2. Because you always want to have a backup. You don't want to run out of a lip pencil and not have it. Eyeliners, the same thing. I think you should have 2 eyeliners, because if you run out of one, you'll have another backup. Brow pencil, same thing. If you run out, mascara, same thing. I think you should always have a backup of those things. So because those are things that when you're running out, you don't always know until you're doing it, and you're like, oh crud, I just ran out of my eyeliner. So always have backups of those. Is that it? Oh, finishing powder. I think that everybody should use some sort of a finishing powder. I really like this one. This is the one from Charlotte Tilbury, but you don't have to get this one. But I do think it's good to have a finishing powder, something that's really, really light and subtle. You don't want to look powdery. That's why I like this one. but I do think it's good to set your makeup. I have oily and dry skin, and I still set my face with powder. And this is a nice one because it doesn't make my face look more dry. You know what I mean? It doesn't accentuate anything. So I do think that it's important to have a powder in your makeup bag. And did I cover everything? Setting spray, I don't think you need to have a setting spray. There's a setting spray I don't have in front of me right now, but I use the Morphe setting spray sometimes. It does not set my makeup, but I use it because it has some oils in it, and if I'm feeling extra dry, I'll just spray a little bit on, and I just feel like it will help give my skin a little bit more of a dewy look. So, but I don't in general really believe in setting sprays. I've tried so many. Some of them were working, but now that I live here in Florida, I'm finding that nothing really will keep my makeup on all day. So I just don't believe in those. But if you feel like you need it and you do like it, then that's great. It works for you. But I don't think that's something that you have to have. And I think that is it. So thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys real soon.